Boom! Back in the room, and welcome to Manila. Today is the 19th of September 2025. Let's jump into our time machine. Why don't we? And together with ChatGPT, we're going to go all the way back to 1571. My man in Japan, except he's not in Japan, he's in Manila. A man by the name of Miguel Lopez de Legaspi. All right. So this guy was one of the most famous conquistadors of the 16th century. Basically married to a one-o by the name of Isabel Gracias. He already had 9 kids. He left Spain when he was 60 by order of the Spanish government in cahoots with the Peaky Blinders. Wipe that. That didn't happen. No, it was the Spanish government who sent 60-year-old Legaspi to establish Manila following the demise of Ferdinand Magellan. He was killed in Cebu by Chief Lapu Lapu, shot him in the arse with an arrow. Anyway, Legaspi arrived, and there was this fella by the name of Raja Lakandula, and this other fella by the name of Raja Suleiman. I'm sure they had nicknames at the time in 1571. Saliman. I don't know what kind of a nickname would you give that fella, but anyway, a brief war ensued after his arrival, and Legaspi promptly kicked his ass and immediately thereafter formed an alliance. And this became one of the founding blocks of what was later to become the encomienda system. All right, in brief, the encomienda system, very similar to what was happening in Ireland throughout the English occupation, like a form of a feudal system. The local Filipinos would have been enslaved to a certain level. They were afforded certain property ownership rights and could operate on lands. However, they had to pay contribution in the form of labor and fines to Legaspi and the Legaspi Salomon Alliance. The encomienda system was quite an effective means of oppression, so much so that they were able to set up the Manila Acapulco trade. So this is a trade route that operated from the 15th all the way through to the 17th century. Basically, saw various silks and precious metals and porcelain, and later when the Chinese came to Manila, other valuable sources continued to be traded along the Manila Acapulco galleon trade route, right? Now, here's the other thing. When Legaspi arrived, he arrived to a land of people rich in paganistic belief systems, right? It was very similar to Ireland again, based on myth and legend. And one particular legend was the Aswang myth, basically a pre-colonial Filipino folklore creature. She was described as a shape-shifting predator, and she was able to eat and devour the heads of various unfortunate people who may have been cursed in the land of the Philippines. This was subsequently followed up with the Mananagal myth, another famous creature in folklore history. She was known as a vampire who was able to separate her upper body from her lower body. She cursed various different folk in Manila at the time, but more particularly pregnant women. Pregnant women were cursed with the Mananagal, the touch of the Mananagal vampire. Uh, so anyway, everything was hunky dory in Manila up until what are we on there? Four minutes and 43 seconds. The San Augustine Church was built in 1587, named after Saint Augustine, who was an awful prick of a man, responsible for the doctrine of original sin. Let's not go down that road. Uh, in 1898, we saw the Spanish and American Civil War, where Manila's finally saw the end of Spanish occupation. This continued up until the invasion of Manila by the Japanese in 1940 something or other. Douglas MacArthur at the time had occupied Manila. He left on a small raft to Darwin and swore that he would come back. Uh, he did just that in 1945, returned with an army of men and found that the Japanese had basically oppressed the people to a point where the most obscene evidence of torture and terror was found upon their arrival. Right, that's a very brief history of Manila. 6 minutes. Let's see how that turned out.